So I was debating doing this video on this Bloomberg stuff, but I came to the realization that, again, you have to call this kind of stuff out. When somebody makes stupid statements like this online, and it seems like, thankfully, Twitter is on my side, on the side of people just critically thinking, or thinking literally at all, you have to, I think you have to back it up, and you have to say, yes, like, thank God. So if you guys missed it, Bloomberg did a phenomenal series of this. It wasn't even just a one-off tweet. It was, I believe, a one-off article, but it was a series of tweets basically talking about how women, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but women, there's no women in games. I think Aloy was the first one. Before that, I don't even think women existed personally in game. I've never seen them before. I don't even think they're real. And that's basically what they were saying. Now, okay, there is some exaggeration, and I think what these crazy people on Bloomberg's side would say is, well, it's still underrepresented. Yes, there are not as many. That is true, but the tide is turning so quickly, it's insane. And it's, I mean, I don't really mind it. I don't really care. But to say, like, nowadays, I mean, my favorite game of this past year was Life is Strange True Colors. Do you know who the main character of that is? A female, Alex Chen. Do you know Life is Strange, the first game? Max and Chloe. Max, in my opinion, a phenomenal female character. Aloy. You can go down a list, and it gets pretty long, pretty quickly, of playable female. If you want to go playable, I mean, you can go playable. You can also go where games let you have the decision if you can play as male or female. Or then you could just say, well, what about like strong female characters in games just in general? There are even more. It's actually incredible how many there are. So, yes, there maybe isn't as many as men. That's one thing. Two, the tides are turning very quickly where it is going to be 50-50, if not more, trust me, in the next couple years. But three, to pretend that it's the exact opposite, to pretend that they don't exist at all. And that's, I think I said it, and there's, people, I love it. I love it when people, like, retweet it and say, did you know Aloy was the first, female game character ever created? Yes, it's an exaggeration on that point, I guess, but it's very funny to see, and you see a lot of people retweeting that where it's like and this is, by the way, Marvel does this, Hollywood does this. They pretend that every time they do something like this, it's the first time they've ever done it. You know what I mean? Now, the difference is, this is like this Bloomberg opinion, right? And this isn't Schreier that wrote it, although he's a pretty big loser as well. Although a good journalist, but as a person, not a very good person. But these people, I guess it's different than if it was like a game developer talking about it, right? These are just people that, I personally said they don't play games. These people, the person who wrote this article, we're not going to read the article. I'm not going to give them a click. We're also not going to talk about the person who wrote it because we're not going to give them attention. And also we're not going to go after them or anything like that, right? These people do not play games. This person in particular has probably never picked up a game. In fact, they talk about Horizon as if it's some like relic, like, hey, there's this hit PlayStation game. You may have heard of it. It was kind of an indie thing. It came out of nowhere. Maybe like 10 people played it, but it's got this very strong female playable protagonist. I don't even think they existed before that, but this game had it. And I don't even know if people knew that. Did you know there's a second game coming up, by the way? This is how they talk about it in this tweet thread, okay? And that's pretty pathetic. And that pretty much tells you all you need to know. So I want to read the first couple, or I want to read, I guess, specific tweets. There's some tweets that I just truly don't care about in this thread, but let's go through. The video game business has a long and troubled history of sexism and gender stereotypes. A round of scandals and multiple gaming companies offered a reminder that the industry has a lot more to do to fix its culture and repair its reputation. But don't worry, the situation isn't hopeless. A hit release from Sony shows there's a big market for games that portray women as smart and resourceful actors rather than as pawns, victims, and objects of male desire. There's also signs of progress. Sony's 2017 blockbuster release, Horizon Zero Dawn, shows there's a huge market for games that don't denigrate women. Zero Dawn's main protagonist is a female character who doesn't look like a supermodel. So basically, in order to be a relatable, normal woman, you can't be attractive whatsoever. And this actually, see, the issue here actually goes into two different groups, right? One of which is that this person doesn't play games, and this is a stupid argument, and again, like, they're pretending like the female characters don't exist, and also just strong, like, characters that, like Tomb Raider, Lara Croft must never have existed, right? Clementine, one of the best, you know what I mean? Must never. Mass Effect is just known, not just that you can play as a female, but that, like Tali and Liara, like, all these characters are phenomenal. So Again, I guess they don't exist though, because 2017, it seems to be the first time this has ever happened. So yes, that is one way you can go down, but it does also bring back up. And I don't like to go down this route because of this, right? Because like with the Aloy thing, right? When they changed her face, I actually took maybe the controversial opinion that I didn't mind it, and game developers can do whatever they want, and people like demanding that she looks attractive, like I mean, you can want whatever you want. I'm not saying that, but like to attack or to threaten because of that, that's not exactly right? And I actually even didn't get to the point that I think a lot of other people online made, which I think is a good point, is a lot of these people, and you have to read between the lines, but a lot of these people, what they're basically saying is they just don't want that at all. See, I'm under the impression of just like freedom, that you can make Aloy look however you want her to look. You know what I mean? If you want to make her look attractive, if you don't want to make her look attractive, whatever. But if you're going to do it simply to not, like, that's your only reason. You're like, I don't want to make her attractive, or you have this mentality, right? This person really sums it up pretty well, that to be a relatable, strong, independent woman, right? Just the best out there, you can't be attractive. In fact, you need to be pretty darn ugly. I mean, what's the opposite, by the way, of sexy or attractive is not, you know what I mean? Or I guess maybe it's just like normal, but that's not really true. You know what I mean? The opposite of being attractive, the opposite of that spectrum would be to be unattractive. So you are saying that to be an independent, strong, female playable character or whatever, you can't look good. And that kind of goes against my basic idea that if you want to make somebody look, not attractive or whatever the situation may be, that's fine. But to say that you can't at all, like that's just some sort of state, it really goes to this narrative that people have talked about, and of course there are some issues with it, of like going just against attractiveness, right? That we're trying to like go backwards, and that women can't be, or same thing. I mean, it goes for any group of people. It doesn't have to just be women, right? That you can't be attractive anymore. Like you need to be just the ugliest creature alive in order to like fit in. And I mean, again, there's exaggerations there, and if it's not looking at every single example, but that's a narrative, or that's like a theory that's gone on online for a long time, and this doesn't help the people that say, oh no, that's not true. We're just looking for equality, or just looking for this. Not really. Not when you have people like this that are saying this thing. That does not seem to me like they say, oh yeah, you can have, because if there was a strong female character that also is super attractive, these people would lose their goddamn minds. They would just have they would pretend they don't exist, because that's basically what they do in life. So it really does go down two different avenues. The first one, again, or the main point I really want to make, is so many people, I think, in the gaming industry, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I will continue to say it, so many people hate their job. They hate you. They hate me. They hate the games that they're playing, that they're not, well, they play for like 10 minutes. They hate the job that they're working at. That's the case. They are miserable people, and they're trying to push an agenda that doesn't really have any point being there, or they make it their entire point. I mean, maybe you can make points politically, whatever, but they make it their entire like existence. Okay, that's most of these people. Now, some people in that group, there's a huge, I mean, that's the majority of game journalists. Okay, then there's the smaller group in that group that just don't even play games but talk about it anyway. This is a good example of that. They don't play anything, and there were people calling it out, and then there were people calling them out, where it's like, oh, are you saying that women aren't underrepresented, there's not enough of them in games? And people are like, no, that's not what we're saying. But what we're saying is, these guys are saying, again, like a very far away thing, where no, yeah, it's not 50-50 yet. I guarantee you, though, it's getting very, very close, especially if you only look at the past couple years, which I think is pretty fair to do if you're trying to like massively change things. See, oftentimes with pretty much anything in life, or especially the world we live in now, there's overcorrection. There's massive overcorrection. So it's not just, if it was at one point 20-80, like 20% women, 80% men, it's not about anymore. It should be getting it 50-50. And by the way, I actually don't even agree with that. Make a game and make a character that you want to make. And if it happens to be 50-50, fine. If it happens to be 60-40 women, or 60-40 men, or 70-30, fine. Make the game without any exterior pressure on you that you want to make. It actually should not be forced equality, because if it's forced, then it's not genuine, it's not real, right? So I don't even necessarily agree with that, but I guarantee you the percentages are pretty close to each other at this point, like over the last couple of years. And again, these people seem to like not actually be in the world that they claim that they're in. I guarantee you, if you find like their profiles, they'll never tell you their profiles, because I guarantee you they don't have any trophies, no achievements, which means they don't play games, right? I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. So these people are not allies. They don't actually represent what they say they represent. Nothing. They're frauds. These guys are losers and they're frauds. I don't know who this person is, but I really hope, I'm not a cancel. In fact, I'm very much anti-cancel culture, but you can't have this stuff. Like this stuff hurts their side, quote unquote, right? It hurts whatever side you want to say like this group represents. It destroys it because it makes them look like idiots, and rightly so, actually. So that's my take on it. I wasn't sure. This is the last thing I'll say. I wasn't sure if I was going to cover this, like I said in the beginning, but I'm very glad I did. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I do a brand new video on the channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.